Hello, class. So we are about halfway through the semester. Can you believe it? I mean, really. Anyway, so we're about halfway through the semester, and now is when we're going to start critiquing each other's stories. Now, remember, you wrote for me a long story at the beginning of the semester, something that several of you freaked out about, but that's okay. Now we're going to be reading them together as a class. So hopefully you've been learning enough about historical fiction and enough about the craft of writing to be able to read it now with fresh eyes and, notice your details and, oh, I can't believe I did that and everything. Likewise, you're having your classmates look over it. So it's not just you looking over it. It's not just me giving you feedback, but now it's your classmates looking over it. I said this briefly in last week's post, but the reason that we do critiques isn't so that we can destroy somebody's writing. It isn't so we can tear someone apart. The whole reason that we do critiques is so that we can look at somebody's work, we can see it for what it is, and then we can be able to pull out pieces that we can improve upon. Now, when you read somebody else's draft, it's always easier to see the mistakes. This isn't, oh, I can't believe you made a mistake, worst thing ever. No, it's more of you being able to identify mistakes in somebody else's writing and to be able to suggest improvements so that later down the road, when you come across a mistake in your own writing, you know how to fix it. Now, if you come across a mistake and you don't have any recommendations for improvement, then you can just say, there's a problem in the dialogue here, there's a problem in the pacing, I don't really know what it is, but maybe take a look at it. That's perfectly valid. Some people feel like they don't know enough about writing it to give valuable feedback. But most of you do know enough. You've learned enough about writing. Several of you have taken several creative writing courses. So you can look over somebody's piece and say, here are some things that you did really well, and here are some things that you can improve upon, and here's how you can do it. So your job as a critiquer isn't to destroy somebody. It isn't to destroy their hopes and dreams of ever writing ever. Your job is to show them what they could do better and improve it. Because if you had a problem in your own writing, you would love it for somebody to give you the same kind of respectful, valuable feedback. So, and this eventually is something that helps you to publish one day if that's what you want to do. Publishers aren't going to pick up a story with problems in it. So we are kindly looking upon each other's stories and saying, hey, I want you to publish one day. So here's how I can help you to do that. So that is the whole goal of critiques. So keep in mind that you want to treat everybody's manuscript with trust, compassion, and respect. And in that same way, you want your own draft to be looked at that way. So, critiques are due in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today. That's Wednesday, March 5th at 5 p.m. And I want your critiques to be thorough. I want them to be full of applause and advice. So they're 500 words. Now, because you have 2 weeks, I really would like you to start doing them now. Now, your time is your own. It's completely up to you. But I don't think anybody deserves to have a critique that's rushed through. So please make the time to prioritize and to read through everything. Okay, another thing that's coming up, something that's due on Monday, dun dun dun, is the packet. Several of you have already done the work and have already turned it in, and that's fine. But the packet is due on Monday. Now, a couple of you did have some questions, so let me work through the spec sheet really quickly. Let me pull that up here on my computer. Okay, so the objective of the packet is for you to look at the work that you've done and to acknowledge what you've done well and to see what you can do better. So you've written 4 shorts for me thus far. Now I want you to take those 3 shorts and to type them up and just give a really short paragraph at the beginning of each one and tell me which short it is, so which historical area it takes place in, and then tell me what you liked about it, or tell me maybe something interesting that you did there that you hadn't thought of before. I just want you to talk just for a paragraph about how you feel narratively about that paragraph, or I'm sorry, about that short. And then for part 2, you're going to take the remaining short and you're going to rewrite it. Sounds super scary, right? You're going to completely rewrite it. So take whichever short that you like the least, right? And just put it away, don't even look at it, and completely rewrite it. So say it's the Napoleonic short, right? And say that it was a scene about Napoleon at Waterloo. say the first time you wrote it, you were kind of like, meh, it's not the best thing I've ever written, but whatever, and you just turned it in anyway. And say some of the feedback that you got was inspiring. Oh, I can't believe I didn't think of that before. Well, now's your opportunity to go back and rewrite it. So my advice to you, don't even look at it. Just go back and rewrite it, because all the important parts of the writing will already be in your head, right? It's the unimportant parts that you'll forget. So I want you to try it. Just try rewriting it and see how it turns out. So that's part 2 of the packet. For both parts, right? So this is for part 1 and for part 2. So for all 4 parts, I want you to tell me which assignment it is. Just give me a clue so that when I look over it, I know what time period that short takes place in. And then for part 3, I want you to write a page of reflection about what you've seen in your craft through these exercises. Now, at the end of the semester, you're going to be writing for me a reflective essay. So the objective of writing a reflective page in the packet is so that you can already get your mind in that place, so that you can say, through consistent writing, I've learned X, Y, and Z. Right? I've learned how to incorporate good dialogue. I have learned what parts make a good scene. I've learned how to keep up pacing, all kinds of stuff. Whatever you've learned, I want that to go in the reflective page. It's just a page. It's not super scary. So I want your packet to be at least 4 to 6 pages. Some of you have emailed me with concern that it'll take longer than 6 pages, and that's okay. I just want to make sure that you're including all parts of the exercise and that you're not omitting anything or that you're not underwriting anything. So 6 pages is the goal to shoot for. If it's a little over, that's fine. But it shouldn't be any less than 4. It's pretty reasonable. Yeah, I don't think there's anything left on that spec sheet. Please do read the spec sheet, but there's no other key points that you need to go over. So you have your packet due on Monday. You have your, my brain stopped. You have your critique groups due 2 weeks from today. Before I forget, there are 2 handouts that can help you. There's a handout on self-critiques, and there's a handout for fiction critique guidelines. So both handouts are excellent for you to read over and to do that post accurately. And then we also have a post on Sunday, which is the second half of People of the Book. You all are loving it so far. Now, I wanted to encourage you. Some people are thinking that once they get to the last half of the book, they're basically going to be giving kind of a book report on the content. Keep in mind that this is a writing class. So I want you to talk about craft-based things about the book that inspired you or that you liked. So you can talk about her use of weaving historical and contemporary plot lines. You can talk about her use of starting contemporary and working backwards historically. Weird. It's like more than just us do that. Just kidding. You can talk about, depending on which edition of the book you have, there are reading, like book club reading questions in the back. So you can present a couple of those questions in the class, see which classmates respond to those, or you can use those reading book club questions as your own questions for critique and just kind of say, the perspective was really interesting, or the way she weaved in and out of time was interesting. So don't forget those. I would like your posts to be more than just book reports on the book, because I've read it and you all are reading it, so we don't really need a book report because we know what it's about. So tell us about the craft. Tell us about things that interested you regarding that craft. Aside from that, you all are on the good path and you're making your way through the class. Woohoo! All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.